Apologies in advance for the slightly shorter length of this episode. There was some content in it which we realised afterwards could be problematic.
It could expose us, and by us I mean me, to legal redress, let's say.
I did want it be made clear that it's all your fault.
But I tell you what, fine. If you come to the live shows, and you remember, just ask me then and I'll tell you.
Yeah. Ask us what the bit was that got cut out.
Yeah, we're touring. And, we're going to be live in April 2023. So go to our website, buy yourself a ticket, and I'll tell you what we've just cut out of the show. And
if you listen to this free to air 9 months later, you've missed it. You've got no chance of ever hearing it. But we will have to scour the room to see if a certain individual is in before we reveal the story.
Yes, we will, yeah. We don't want to cause any unnecessary upset and certainly no legal exposure. So that's our excuse.
Sorry, it's slightly shorter than usual, but I hope you enjoy it.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. This is it.
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hotbody Dawson. Pow, pow, pow.
I'm Sam Nifty Delaney. So what?
Welcome along. It's the latest episode of the Rod Hull Odyssey. We are carefully examining, sifting through the This Is Your Life episode from 1983, where Rod Hull is the subject, victim, if you like. You could call him that. I don't know. It depends on how they feel about it when they're approached by Eamon Andrews with the Big Red Book. But he's gone along with it. As you said last week, Sam, he appears very subdued and humbled throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's a shadow of the exuberant entertainer that he normally is when he's got Emu with him.
Yeah, it feels really sincere as well. There's a particular time. I mean, a famous quote from Bob Monkhouse is, of course, he says, you know, the one secret to success in showbiz is sincerity. Right. Audiences pick up on sincerity, they love it, and they respond to it. And he goes, yep, sincerity. If you can fake that, you can do anything. Right. Classic Bob Monkhouse. But you do see a lot of faked sincerity, right, in showbiz, in a situation like this where everyone's sort of pretending to be sentimental, but in fact they're reveling in the ego trip. Well, I've examined Rod Hull's eyes quite closely in this episode. I've really done a lot. I've paused, zoomed in. I've spent a long time looking at the Hull eyes.
And you've consulted some body language experts as well. Yeah,
absolutely, like the ones who used to go on Big Brother. And psychologists and so forth. And this bloke, he is oozing sincerity. There's a lost child in his eyes, right? A little lost child who can't quite believe what's happening, can't believe how far he's come with his anarchic puppet emu, right? And he feels a bit naked and exposed without the emu on his arm.
This is what I think. I think emu is almost his Superman cape.
Yes.
Emu, the presence of emu gives him that license to assault strangers.
Yeah.
If you like, if you want to call it that, or create magical comedy, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But emu gives him that license to be exuberant, is the word I used earlier on. Whereas when he's on his own, without emu, he's a much smaller, humbler man.
But there's something so sweet about it. All these things I'm saying are good reflections on him, because you and I both think the man is a comic genius. It's easy to overlook him and think it was all Emu, and then you suddenly remember, no, Emu wasn't real. It was all Rod Hull. He's a comedy genius, and, you know, there is something beautiful about his humility and the sort of wonder, the humble wonder that he is going through as This Is Your Life unfolds before him.
Yeah. So we've just got as far as the bit where we see a still black and white photo of Emu attacking the Queen Mother's bouquet, which pretty revolutionary.
Just goes to show how popular Emu was, because that would have been a hanging offence. There were still some crimes. There are still now some crimes that are punishable by death, aren't there? And they're all to do with the royals.
There's treason. It's counted as treason.
Treason. Burning the Queen's shipyard is one. We've looked into this before, I think.
Is what?
At least once. I think that burning the Queen's, or now the King's, King's shipyard, right, is punishable by death still in this country. That's right.
Well,
We've researched this before.
I've got a bit of a chill the other day because there was a fella who turned up at Windsor Castle a couple of years ago, armed with, I can't remember if it was a crossbow or some kind of weapon.
Crossbow is always the weapon. I know all weapons are sort of just slightly balmy. I mean, I can talk because of the Terminator, but you know, definitely the fucking the weapon of choice for anyone living on society's fringes is the crossbow.
It's the weapon of the unhinged. It
really is, yeah. Mind you, the bow and arrow's not far behind. Okay, so back to Rod Hull.
So he's very subdued. He's very humbled. His wife appears through the double doors with that music that always plays every time the doors open, which is just stuck in my head now. I get a Proustian rush from childhood every time I hear
it. Lovely.
It's his wife, Cher, not the Cher, a different Cher. His second wife, because his daughters from his first marriage appear as well.
No sign of the first wife, I notice, or much talk about her
sign
either.
Of the first wife, obviously, still some lingering.
Maybe the scars are still too raw.
Maybe the second wife doesn't get on with the first wife. Don't know. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. We see he's got 3 little kids who aren't actually there. His wife talks about how Emu was born because she was in Australia and Rod was down in Australia, and she said that he put an egg on a radiator and it grew and suddenly Emu was born.
Yeah,
and that's the origin story of Emu. And then we cut to Rod's 3 little kids who are somewhere else, and they're all each sitting atop a huge egg each. And they're trying to hatch some emus, it turns out. Have you seen the size of the eggs? This is a massive health and safety hazard.
Yeah.
The eggs are about 5 foot high.
Yeah.
And these little kids are sat perched on top of them. And there's no sign of any kind of harness or support. It's terrifying.
I feel that it was very much like in the production office. We can't have the kids in the studio. No, the insurance firm won't cover it. We're gonna have to do a video of them back home. Apparently they're gonna get a neighbour round to mind them. Well, we don't want to just fucking film them. Think of an idea. A couple of giant eggs to represent emu. Yeah, do that.
God.
Whatever, just do that.
Get the eggs.
Go and get some big eggs. They'll have them down in the Doctor Who prop department.
Yeah. And they're massive. The kids are sitting on top of them and it's terrifying. It's almost as terrifying as John Noakes going up Nelson's column that time.
Yeah.
In his jeans and trainers. His flares, which could easily have tripped over.
Yeah, climbing in flares.
That could be another deep dive for another time.
Oh, I think we've discussed that as a potential deep dive. It's definitely worth it. Yeah,
it's on the list. The kids are all going, Daddy, we're going to make an emu for you, Daddy. Well, they're going to make fucking 3 emus because they're on top of an egg each.
Yeah.
Rod looks bemused. I don't think Rod's really processed what's going on here. It's only a couple of minutes into the show. And he's mumbling. He mumbles a lot throughout this. Which I'm surprised at for a seasoned entertainer. I thought he'd know to emote for the cameras and all that, but he mumbles a lot. His stepdaughter talks about, not his stepdaughter's there as well. His daughter talks about when he had his first son, and he came home and put a flag up in the garden, which is normal. I think most men do that when they have their first son.
Yeah. Where's my flag? Where's my procreation flag? Is it under the stairs?
You have a cigar in the corridor at the hospital. Head home. Put the flag up. Put that I've got a son flag up so everybody knows.
Yes. My balls and penis are fully functional. And now I have the evidence.
Another man. Not a daughter. I've got lots of daughters, but this is a man-child. And therefore the flag will go up.
My wife was reminding me the other day that when Lenny was born, I went home. I think I had a few beers and then sort of stumbled home. She was obviously in the hospital. So you have a weird night. Well, not on your own. I would have been with my daughter. Don't know who's looking after her when I was on the beers, but whatever. I come home.
You got through it.
I got through it somehow. They're both alive now. And Let anyone who wishes to judge me as a parent simply know that both my children are alive and fully limbed. 15 years in.
I am aware of the circumstances and whereabouts right now.
Yeah. I've got them fucking chipped.
Up to school or something.
But, like, I went back and I thought, right, I gotta fucking announce this on fucking Facebook so everyone knows I've had another fucking kid. And then maybe,
thing you do.
And then maybe at last some cunt will show me some respect. Now that I've got 2 children, treat me like a man who is worthy of respect for once in my life. And I wrote, welcome, and I posted some pictures, which my wife wasn't happy about anyway, because they're sort of picture of her in bed, breastfeeding in the hospital, not looking her best.
Slightly, probably dishevelled.
Yeah, exactly. So she didn't like that. But then I wrote underneath, introducing baby Louis, right? It's not his name. It was never his name. It wasn't even on the fucking...
It wasn't. It wasn't like a change of plan.
No. It had never even been mentioned. And then I just said, right, that's that done. Time for a lovely sleep.
I'm calling him Louis.
And I go to sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, there's like loads of people have liked it and said, welcome, Louis. And Anna's seen it and just written underneath, Louis, question mark.
Yeah.
We'd have named him Lenny.
Yeah.
And I'd just forgotten. And where did that name come from? It's just weird.
You'd already named him. He wasn't nameless at that point.
No, he was named Lenny.
You got the name wrong.
Welcome, Louis. I just got my own son's name completely wrong and announced it to the world. And she's just written, Louis, question mark. She didn't even call me out. She just wrote that. That was enough. Yeah. And then I had to do another, I had to delete that and go, earlier I announced the birth of my son and made a error that I am not proud of. I got his name completely and utterly wrong. I am doing a full investigation into why this happened, but in the meantime, please know his name is Lenny.
Please delete any orders you may have placed for personalised gifts that you want to send me or him. The name has been changed.
Jalapeño.
That's weird things to your head when you have a kid, though, doesn't it? Like, do you remember the first few days after your kids are born? You're sort of in a weird sort of daze, like it's a dream.
It's just about survival, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, strange. You're euphoric, but you're completely exhausted and strung out.
You're just grabbing sleep wherever you can. Because my daughter was born. She was the first one to come along. She's born on the 28th of December.
Oh, man.
It's just after Christmas.
That's tough.
And I remember New Year's Eve, a couple of days later, there was absolutely no possibility of staying up to celebrate New Year's because I fell asleep on the bed at 10 p.m. and then woke up again at 2 a.m. when she needed to be fed. And it was just fucking, time doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, you're all over the place. Yeah, and you sleep you can sleep in any position at any moment, given half a chance. Bang, you're out.
Yeah.
Standing up, sitting down.
Whatever. Yeah. It's brilliant. I've never been to war, but I imagine that's what it's like.
Having kids is brilliant yet awful. The most brilliant yet awful thing that will ever happen to you. I might write that in the next congratulations card I have to do.
Being a parent is like all of a sudden somebody throws a really, really heavy sheet of tarpaulin over you. And over the next 18 years, that sheet of tarpaulin is slowly lifted off you millimetre by millimetre.
Yeah.
Until you get to a stage like where I'm at now, where I've got one who's 19 and at university and the other one who's 15.
And self-sufficient, self-policing.
Wants to spend, let's say, a bit less time with me.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like I've got a little bit of freedom and that huge sheet of tarpaulin is almost off me.
Or if you're like me, you wait for that bit of tarpaulin to finally give you some breathing space, and after years and years you stop being exhausted all the time, and you feel like you've got a bit of your own life back, and then just as that happens you decide to get a fucking puppy. You
get a dog.
And the tarpaulin comes crashing down on you once
again. Yeah.
So that was foolish.
Well, I didn't overtly say anything to you, but I did think, well, there's a commitment he's taking on.
No, I love the puppy, but she is banned now from the Vita Modular because she's reaped too much havoc in here. And she loves to try and come in when she knows when I'm going to do a podcast. I don't see a podcast. I don't worry about podcast, Dad. Yeah, I am. And you're not fucking invited, because I had these lovely visions of being in my nice warm Vita Modular and her in her little bed next to me while I podded, and she was just there. Occasionally she'd come and have a cuddle with me. Very sweet idea. No, she comes in here and she fucking just runs round in like circles like a fucking banshee. She's chewed through the headphone cable, so that's cost me a few quid. And she's just fucking, oh look, there's Oscar on the bed. Does he always sit there listening to us?
There you go. I thought I'd show you that. That's what will happen eventually when she calms down.
She does sometimes sleep. She does sometimes. I mean, I'm quite lucky. She's not full-time mental, but there's something about coming in the Vita Modular that sends her deranged.
It's all different, isn't it? It's different.
She loves it, different smells. And she'll run up to the shelves, and then when she realises, she'll just get it. She'll go, "What's that? That's coming down." Get it in her teeth. Yeah. Throw. Then the next thing, throw. Bit of paper, is it? That's coming down. What's this? Yeah. Headphones? That's coming down. What's this? A fucking book? That's coming down. All of it's coming down.
Let's have a party.
You don't need everything up on the fucking shelves, you Tory. Why, some sort of Tory, keeping everything neat and tidy on your shelves? Get it all on the floor, mate, like a proper geezer.
So Puppy's very much non-Tory.
Shelves are for Tories. That's what the dog says.
Where are we at? Oh, we are the fellow with the crossbow that went to Windsor Castle and obviously got arrested immediately because he'd said, "I've come to kill the Queen."
Yeah, silly bastard. I mean, that was his big mistake. You don't announce it.
Yeah. They went, "No, you fucking haven't, pal. Get in the cells." But he's been charged with treason.
Well, is he going to be hung by the neck till dead?
He could be. He could be. I hope they don't. I don't want that to happen. Because, I mean, she's dead anyway.
There's no place in our society for capital punishment, in my opinion, no matter what you've done. Even if you have turned up to try and crossbow the Queen, which I'm not saying isn't a heinous crime. It fucking is. But let's think a little bit about rehabilitation, right?
Yeah.
Few months up the loony bin with a bit of talk therapy, right?
Yeah.
What's the matter? Why do you have the ump with the Queen? Why do you think a crossbow was the answer to your problems? Be as right as rain.
Are you listening to the James Whale show?
Yeah,
exactly. Had an effect on you?
Is that what?
Just get him to sign something that just says he's not going to try and kill any monarchs. It'd be all right.
Yeah.
I'm sure that our current groovy king wouldn't want him to be hung for that.
No, definitely not. Our king will not. The new king is not into that sort of draconian measure for sure.
No, I don't think so. So, that was the end of that story. So the kids are on the giant egg. Rod looks bemused. Oh yeah, the flag's gone up because of the arrival of his son. And his daughter says, "And we had champagne and donuts for breakfast."
Yeah,
that sounds all right, doesn't it?
Right, I put my flag in the garden. Champagne and donuts, even you kids. But father, we don't want to drink champagne. We're just children. Yeah, fucking drink it.
Your champagne. Emio's having his champagne and his donuts. Look,
it tastes sour. Yeah, well, that's why I've got the donuts. What you do is you take a nice big swig of champagne and you quickly ram a donut in to cover up the taste.
We find out that his eldest daughter is pregnant, so daddy's going to be a granddad. That's good to know. He leaves school, does Rod, works as an apprentice technician at the local co-op.
Yeah.
And then we see Rod's dad, who appears, and I forgot what it was that he says now. Obviously, they usually say something before from backstage over the speaker before they come out, and it was something about having to take your shoes and socks off. Rod had demanded he took his shoes and socks off. So anyway, his dad, Len, great name.
Yeah, not Louis.
Comes
Len.
out, and he basically looks like a mad cunt.
He looks like Rod Hull, but much madder. He's got the same Rod Hull chin, but it's, I would say, about an inch and a half bigger and strangely crooked. It starts to turn up on itself like, you know, a Turkish slipper.
Yeah.
He's got a face that's the shape of a Turkish slipper. It sort of is curling up. If you ever saw the way that in Billy the Fish they drew Jimmy Hill, they'd always draw Jimmy Hill's chin just like as if it kind of curled upwards. But that's what Rod Hull's dad actually looks like, and he's got a lovely, just to set it off, he's got a lovely white beard on it as well.
He's got,
and he's wearing it some sort of like tux, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got like a frilly white dress shirt and a bow tie and what seems to be like a velvet jacket of some kind.
Yeah,
he's fucking well into this special occasion. He's dressed up specially for it. But it's a chin family, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, Rod's chin is, like you say, it's not as big. It's probably been diluted by the fact that his mum, who we don't see, I don't think she's no longer with us, probably didn't have a massive chin. So she's diluted his chin in the breeding process. So what happened was, Rod, there was a flood and Rod needed to get to his job at the co-op. So his dad piggybacked him to work in bare feet.
Yeah, nice.
Across the flood. Isn't that wonderful?
Really wonderful, yeah.
I don't think I would do that for my kid.
Nah. But
as
yeah,
an adult,
I think it was obviously
7-year-old, yeah.
He was raised well, Rod.
Yeah.
I think that's one of his one of the secrets to his success.
We see a photograph of Rod that his dad carried with him throughout the Burma campaign. Rod's dad was away at war. Rod just really quietly just says to him, "Thank you." It's a lovely moment.
Oh, yeah. Again, it's just sort of like, there's a sweetness to the whole thing, isn't there?
Yeah. But I feel there's a kind of weirdness between Rod and his dad. I don't know. It feels like there's a kind of a distance.
I think that
maybe that's how it was back then.
Yeah, I think it was like that back then. Funny enough, I was with my dad a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him, maybe for the first time, I sort of tried to dig a little into what his relationship had been like with my granddad. I knew my granddad. My granddad died when I was about 20, maybe 21. And he was a really lovely man, but he had 8 kids, and it was really fucking hard. I think when he had his first 3, he was working shifts and they lived in a house with a flat, which was a house divided into loads of different places, and they all had to share one bathroom, right, with these other fucking families. So my dad was saying about all this stuff and how it was hard, and I said, how did he feel about that? How did he, did he ever talk to you about how stressful that his life must have been for all those kids living in those conditions? My dad looked at me like I was mental. He went, no. And I went, well, why you said it like that? He went, you got to understand, blokes are that joke. He went, I never had a conversation more than a minute with my dad about anything.
Feelings?
But I considered them pretty close. And they kind of were. And he said, but the nature of a relationship back then, he went, those men from that era, he went, they were really struggling to fucking get up to speed with the modern world. It was so different. And the idea of talking to your kids in any depth about things beyond just like telling them what to do, right? Yeah. Was just fucking weird. But it didn't mean there wasn't like unspoken affection and love. It's just that they didn't communicate in the same way. So I think I noticed the same thing about Rod Hull and his old man. And I thought there's clearly a real warmth between them, but there's not much like connection in other ways,
Yeah. Not an overt physical connection.
No cuddling or anything like that. It's like it's like a formal associate. You do like a shake of the hand and a nod. Yeah, it's a kind of a respect thing, isn't it?
That's what it is. Yeah, a sense of duty.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Thank you.
It does. Yeah, it's a photograph that your dad carried with him throughout the Burma campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sit over there.
So we'll leave it there. We're about to meet St John's ambulance man who has a bugle and a story. So we'll have that next time. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Goodbye.